Welcome to another exciting episode of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Paper Guy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
And it is Saturday, BOLO Day. We go deep diving into the things that sold over the last week, tell you what sold, why it sold, and how you can profit from it. Get started.
All right. We have here a comic, Personality Comics number 4.
Oh.
Don Mattingly Trading Card version 263
Wow.
425. Now, I knew this was good because I had it before, and I told my employee, I go, Terapeak this. I think it went for like $200 last time. So he looked, and there was one on Terapeak, and it was mine for $200.
Wow. Now, hold on. Now,
it's rare because of the cards. It comes with 4 Don Mattingly cards, and they only made 425 of these, and I don't think they all came with cards, so the cards are super rare. I think there's a couple on each side.
Is it sealed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, right here is how they sealed it with that little sticker. So yeah, I've had them before, and surprisingly, yeah, and they're big bucks if you ever see them. So I would think anything with cards would be rare from this series.
So I was just going to ask if they did cards on other people or not.
Yeah, because they're all low numbers, so I would think so, definitely.
$150 for that. Yeah. Holy mackerel! Now the comic itself without the cards is what, $10 comic?
Yeah, probably you might be able to get 20 like on Amazon for it, but, right? You know, still, and I had one too. So I think the collection I bought that Mattingly from, that's where it came from, and I had a comic too without the cards. So he probably had more of the cards in with the cards somewhere. I just got
okay.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, next up, 1978 Star Wars Blue Snaggle 2 Sears Mailaway exclusive. I had a couple of these, so if I sold one before, I sold another one. This is always I think I got $280 out of this one. It's got the gun, a little wear on the boots, which is common. Mint ones could be $500 to $1,000.
And real quick, what's the story on that? They didn't have actual pictures. They were kind of working off.
Yeah, he was never in the actual movie. The short red Snaggletooth was in the movie, and then Sears did some mail away, and it must have been from some concept story or art or something. And
so they had the wrong looking figure in it.
Yeah, and then they redid it after that with the red one.
Right.
So, all right. This doesn't look like much, but it went for $140. 1983 Mario Brothers Nintendo Game & Watch multi-screen. I had one of these as a kid, and I think they even had Dungeons and Dragons and so forth, but it opens up like that. It's pretty cool and tough to find now. It goes for $140, so if you see it out there, you might be able to buy it for $5 at a garage sale.
Now, you said it needs a battery. Is it an easily changeable battery?
It's those watch ones, those little round silver ones, yeah. So, yeah, right there.
A dumb question, and you may not know this. You can send stuff like that through the mail with the watch batteries? I guess people do. I mean,
well, I don't think the batteries are in this one anyways.
Okay.
So because it wasn't working, so they were either old or we tossed them. But yeah, we wouldn't ship batteries in there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And if you have that in storage, and it has the battery, you want to remove the battery, correct?
Regardless, yeah. Clean up the compartment case and gets that
corrosion.
Yep. All right. Next up, Green Lantern number 7. DC Comics Sinestro Origin, first appearance, CGC 3.5. I took I think $490 on this because the norm was going for about $500 or so. You obviously must already have this, right? When
I didn't know it was a key.
Oh, jeez.
Well, now I do. I was something to look for when I'm out there.
All right. All right, that's all I got to say for that one. Moving on. Buffalo Bills Team Danbury Mint, 1966 Ford Mustang convertible. 124 scale. I bought a kind of a large collection. I had 15 different Danbury Mint Bill stuff from this gentleman. He came from out of town. They're all new in box, and everything that's Bill's Danbury Mint goes for $200 or more, it seems.
And I would expect they must have probably had a licensing agreement with every team.
I would think so, yeah.
So the Vikings would have one like that. Right, I would think the prices are going to be similar on every team, I would think.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So that's one of those few things where Danbury Mint held up value in.
Right, yeah.
With the sports.
Definitely, yeah. Next up, the Monkees, Jones Torque Dolan's autographed music award sheet with JSA certificate.
Oh.
I picked this up about a month before I did the JSA certification. I think I paid $75 for it. It cost me another $50 to certify, and I think I sold it for $200. So I made a little bit, yeah. It wasn't great. It wasn't all 4.
Right.
And the condition wasn't the best, but still original. So it was originally framed, but the frame got all broken and stuff, so I just listed it this way.
Nice.
Yep. So we got last up here is empty lot of 23 Wild Turkey decanters, figures.
1,800. Holy mackerel!
Yeah, started putting these on eBay, and a gentleman wanted to buy them all for our starting price, which are actually a little over. and we had terapeat them, so we don't think we're even going to sell them or get much more than that. So we definitely agreed to it. He bought 6 or 7. He bought 23 more, and he's going to buy all we have of these. He's sending us a list. So from that, where did we buy all those from? The Geneva Deal. Yeah. So we got hundreds of them. So hopefully we can stock up on a nice chunk of change from selling these decanters, which are not going to be easy to ship, but we'll figure it out.
Well, and 2 things. Number 1. If you've not seen the Geneva Deal, definitely do so. It was an early haul video, and we have everything broken into different categories, playlists down there. Just hit the haul videos, and you'll see the deal itself. And somebody was very, very smart on the deal. They ran the camera and did a bunch of interviewing rather than doing the work.
Wow. I didn't know what was happening, so I must have been working.
So it's definitely worth checking that out. And the gentleman had given some packing instructions as well, because how big is 23 figures?
So he wanted them shipped in. No, he wanted them shipped in like 5 or 6. So probably
boxes,
4 boxes.
Yeah. So, and that's always good in a deal like this. I know a lot of times we all get annoyed when somebody gives us packing directions for something that we sell every day. But it's when you're selling something that you don't sell that you do appreciate all the help. If I suddenly came across some china, certainly I would want, Fiesta ware, I would want the person who bought it saying, here's how you ship it. Do it this way, do it that way, because I've not shipped a lot of Fiesta ware.
Right.
I don't need you to tell me how to ship a comic book, nothing personal. I just don't need it, because I've shipped 10,000 comic books out. I've never shipped Fiesta ware. That I would, and in fact, that might even be the kind of thing that I would reach out and say, hey, look, I don't usually sell this. What's the safest way to ship it to you?
Right.
In that case. So people will help you, definitely. And I think the classic example of being in over your skis and what you pack, there are 2, and both of them were on your side, Mr. Magazine. Neon lights.
Yeah.
Those are a nightmare.
Definitely, yeah.
And 78 records are difficult as well if you don't know what you're doing on them. Right. So be very, very careful if you sell those sort of things, because there's an art form to packing those.
Yep.
Certainly is. Now, the people that do it all the time they're set up for it. They've got the proper stuff, and meanwhile, here we are trying to cobble together in order to ship it out when we don't have the right equipment.
Exactly.
First one I have over here, and I actually did a short over here on YouTube about this magazine, so do check it out. Do check out the shorts section. We have that nicely put in a playlist as well. House Beautiful Magazine, September 1931, Art Deco cover. Absolutely beautiful magazine, a great cover, great Art Deco, always is a great keyword. And the nice thing about magazines like this, that's the index to advertisers. There are a few different magazines out there that there will be a list of advertisers. Always check near the back. It tends to be near the back of the magazine, and do post that. That way, if somebody rather needs a specific advertisement, go ahead. And the other side as well is if they're breaking it up for ads, which a lot of people do, and if you happen to love print ads, stop by the Whatnot auction every 4 p.m. on Tuesday. That's Eastern. Every other lot's going to be print ads for quite a while. But if you take a look here, that's a lot of advertisers. I don't know, what's that got to be, about 40 advertisers? 78 advertisers. Yep. So that's 30 or 40 ads you could get out of this one magazine alone. The guy's paying $1 an ad if he is the kind of person that wants to break it up.
Cheap at twice the price.
And in fact, at half that price, you can buy them off me on Whatnot. Next up, Big Perfect, but enough about my nickname. Penmanship, Bond, College, and Price Book Fillers Paper 1950s 2577U. What's the matter, you? That's where I went to college, me and Bullwinkle.
It took you 7 years to sell it. Good for you.
It did take 7 years to sell it.
Good for you.
However, it did go, and it only went for like $14 or something like that.
It all adds up.
That being said, it's paper.
Exactly.
It's literally paper.
And you're a paper guy.
I am paper guy.
You're literally paper guy.
I am literally paper guy. But that's paper. It's unused paper. And you can find this kind of thing. Estate sales are a great place to find this. Everybody's got those stacks of paper, filler paper, and mead and all that stuff. Yeah. Sometimes you get lucky and you find an old one. You're not going to pay much for it. You're going to pay $1 at absolute most for it. And a lot of times less than that. Buy it when you see it. Next up, Pioneer History of the Holland Purchase of Western New York, hardcover, 1850. Are you familiar with Arch Merrill, Mr. Magazine?
Only autograph books of his.
When did Arch Merrill write? When was he a writer?
If this is from 1850, it's got to be before that. Is that right?
Exactly. He wrote in the 1950s.
All right.
This book, however, if you look here on the first page, has his
He
autograph.
signed a book that he did not write.
It actually came from his personal library.
Oh, okay.
And that was really cool. I picked up about 3 or 4 books that came from his personal library. And anybody not in upstate New York, Arch Merrill was a author who did a lot of books about the Southern Tier, Rochester, Finger Lakes, this entire region. Well, these were books that he actually used for research. And the history buff part of me and the historian part of me just got excited when I saw this, because I said, wow, he actually held this book in his hand, because there were a couple of pages that had like a piece of paper stuck in them, so he obviously was making notes and keeping track of stuff. So this was actually a book that he used in his research.
Cool.
So that was pretty cool on that as well. And I got $68 for it. The entire house call I spent $50 at, so you can't argue. I'm out of it at one book. And spoiler alert, I bought more than one book.
Oh, good. Did you list in there that where it came from? And
yeah, I did mention his library. Yep. Or
you didn't even see it autographed.
It ran out of room.
Oh. Okay.
Up next, Inspire's Salon Client Photo Guide, Volume 6, Step-by-Step Technical Guide. I put this one up for 2 reasons. I did go for the $20. It did take 8 years to sell. Reason number 1, if you put newer things up in the same genre, it will get old things selling. I picked up 3 hairstyle magazines, put them up. The day after I listed the hairstyle magazines, this sold.
Wow.
It happens. It definitely drives traffic. This was a poor listing. Step-by-step technical guide to what? What, you clown, what? I totally screwed this listing up. It could have sold a lot quicker had I mentioned, I don't know, hairstyles, hair cutting, things like that. I did end up getting my $20 out of it, and it was listed back in 2015. That being said, it was just a bad listing when you get right down to it. Don't make that mistake. Next up, Fermo and Francesca Fracassi. Yeah, I think I went to school with them when I was studying abroad in Italy. Master Engravers hardcover DJ signed 2008 book. $99 for it. Not a lot of comps on it either, but it is signed right over there. But it's just a really nice looking book with a lot of their work in it. They were engravers, and they did a lot of wildlife type stuff. So it's just one of those books. You're probably not going to find it out there, but it is a pretty striking cover. If you do see it, it's, granted, it's worth more because it's signed. It's worth $99 because it's signed, but it's still a $50 to $75 book, not signed. So it's a neat little book. Care Bear covers. Now, you may have seen this before, and if you haven't, check out the haul video. I picked this up over at Springfield. It's the video where I meet the auction professor. Right around there, because I think I did 2 or 3 videos about it. Have you had this before, Mr. Magazine?
I have not.
I got it. I paid $1, I believe, for it. You'll have to watch the video to fact check me on that.
I believe you.
I was excited. I said, this is going to be a good one. In fact, I didn't do any comps on it. It was $1. I knew to buy it. I bought it. And I mentioned in the haul video, it was one of the things that I featured. And I said, this is something good. It's always going to sell.
Yeah.
Get home, it's about a $7 to $10 item.
Wow.
I said, what? That's all that it's worth? I'm not selling it for $7 to $10.
No, right.
I priced it at $22 and ended up selling to somebody overseas. Now, perhaps the other sellers weren't offering international shipping on it.
Sure.
Perhaps they were, but they were using the eBay program, so the shipping plus the item may have ended up being more than what my item was with the shipping. Not really sure why, but for whatever reason, I was able to get $22 out of it. So again, stand by your prices. Don't price low just because everybody else does, is I guess the lesson of that. And finally, Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, April 17th, 1947, Texas City Explosion. Got $24 out of this, and it's, I believe, only the first section of the newspaper as well. Anytime you get a big news story like this, you definitely will be able to sell it. 1,200 people dead, just an absolute tragedy in it.
Wow.
People from that town, it's something or other that they still talk about, think about, and all that.
That's like equivalent to 9/11, right?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's a lot of just a tragedy, really, when you get down to it. But even if you find it in your local paper, if you market it, remember, you're selling to the entire world. And somebody in Rochester may not be particularly interested in this, but somebody or other down in that Texas town definitely would be interested. You could be going to their historical society for all we know.
True.
Whatever the reason is, it sold, and I got $24 out of it, and it was, you know, one section of a paper. Tell the truth, you know, you can pick that up all the time. You're not even going to pay $1, generally speaking, on papers. You just make a pile of papers, and they'll take a quick look at it, and they'll say, I don't know, $10, right. And you walk out with 25 papers. So newspapers are definitely a lot better than they were back in the day. So something to keep in mind as well. You know what else people should keep in mind, Mr. Magazine?
Hitting the like button.
You do know.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
And we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.